All right, folks, here's what it comes down to. All right. If I could forget telling you the right things to do, tell you the things not to do, and that will absolutely help you get more out of your day. Okay. Very, very simple. So let's do it. So what most people run into, okay, with people that say they're frustrated with prospecting, they're banging their head against the wall, it's really boring, they can't get into a groove. Guys, in fact, type a me in the chat if any of those statements hold true with your attitude towards prospecting. If you ever felt like you just can't get into a groove, like you're just like, this is boring, oh my gosh, this is tedious, okay? Check it out, folks. One of the fastest ways to fix that is to dedicate time to research before picking up the phone. Guys, this is the little circle of trust, okay? Type 1 in the chat if you have ever researched a property, research, find a phone number, call the phone number, phone number doesn't work, and then you research the next one, okay? And then you go down this endless spiral of, oh my God, this is soul sucking because I can never get anyone on the phone. Type a 1 in the chat if that applies to you guys, if you've ever done that, okay? Maybe you don't do it anymore, but you've done it at some point. Okay, Brian's with me, Lydia's with me, Leslie. Okay, guys, this is completely and totally normal. What I want you guys to understand is, right, why did the assembly line work as well as it did, right? Henry Ford is credited as inventing the assembly line. Why? In fact, I just saw something about Henry Ford today. You know why Henry Ford said you can have any color you want as long as it's black, right? Do you know why? Because black paint dries 4 hours sooner than any other color paint, which means they can make a product 4 hours quicker, which means they could roll out more products per year. I thought that's pretty interesting. But to digress, the point is, assembly line. The reason why assembly line works is people do the same thing over and over and over again, and they start to get good at it. They start to learn the shortcuts. They have it's what's called division of labor. Everybody has their own thing. So what I want you to do is, one of the biggest time suckers in terms of productivity and high performance is when you are shifting tasks. When you're going from this task to this task to this task. How many of you, I hate doing that. How many of you guys have ever felt that way? Like you feel real inefficient when you're doing one thing, then the next, and the next, and the next, and then back to the first thing, next. Type a me in the chat if that's with you, okay? If so, you are not by yourself, okay? The fastest way for you to get good at prospecting isn't to come in, do a bunch of research, then call, do a bunch more research, then call. You're not dividing your labor up. What I would recommend is on a night or a weekend, do your research. Do it at a time when it's not your prime time. Prime time is 8 to 4, 9 to 5, that type of thing, okay? But dedicate time to research before picking up the phone. If you just did that, you would speed up how many people you would get a hold of a whole lot more people, okay? So, number 9. Don't wing it. Have a strategy. So now you've already researched people. You've already, divided. Okay, you've already done your research. You already got your phone numbers. When you pick up the phone to call somebody, how many chances do we have to make a first impression, guys? Type it in the chat. How many? Right? So you had better have a good plan in place. So what does that look like? You need to know who you're calling, what they own, and for what reason, okay? You don't have to know every detail about the building. Just enough to say your industrial property on 123 Main Street is good enough, but you better know why you are calling that specific person. If you call just to talk about what's going on in the market, you're gonna get a big fat click. And you're gonna wonder also, why are people so mean when I cold call or when I prospect? It's because you're bothering them in the middle of their day. Has anyone here ever been annoyed by a telemarketer because they bother us in the middle of their day? Like everyone here, all right? The point I want to make to you guys is the more people that you call and you don't have a plan, you don't have something, some value to bring them, okay? You don't know why you're calling them. You are basically creating what we lovingly call random acts of violence. All right, guys? Don't create or don't commit random acts of violence. Have a specific purpose for your specific call, okay? As you guys are hopping on, let's get those cameras on. If you're gonna be here with us, okay? Very, very important. This is 30 minutes. These are the mistakes that I wish I could have avoided my first year in brokerage. Next up, qualify your buyers and or tenants if you're doing tenant rep, okay? I recommend down the road, you learn how to take listings so you never have to work with buyers and never have to work with tenants again, okay? Unless, okay, you own the building and you're putting the tenants in your place, then that's okay. All right. But what the point is, folks, how many of you have ever type a big fat capital M, capital E, if this sounds familiar? So you meet this person or you get a phone call and you talk to them. They tell you, I want X, Y, Z, A, B, C. So you go to LoopNet, Crexi, CoStar, whatever, right? You put together a report, you call them, you go back and forth, maybe even show them a couple places, yada, yada, yada. And then all of a sudden, they evaporate. They pull David Copperfield. They literally Houdini you, and you never hear from them again. Type of capital M, capital E, if that has ever happened to you. If it hasn't happened to you, either A, you're lying, or B, you've only been in the business a week, because tenants and buyers will do that. There we go. Leslie's the first honest one. Thank you, Leslie. I appreciate your honesty. But the point is, folks, right? All jokes aside, the reason why that happens a lot, okay, oftentimes because people are inconsiderate and think that real estate agents are a dime a dozen. That's part of it. But the other part of it is you might be looking for someone that's just like, it would be nice. Okay. It would be nice. Can anybody tell me, type it in the chat, what is the fastest way for you to qualify a buyer or a tenant? Type it in the chat. Take a guess, guys. What do you think that might be? What's the fastest way to qualify someone? Right? Think of it this way. If someone said, man, I really need a new car. Can you go out and get me a new car? Go look for a new car for me. And I'm like, well, what do you want? Well, I want a Rolls Royce. And I want it to have 21-inch rims. I want it to have like mahogany wood grain interior. I want it to have self-driving, blah, 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 blah. And then they give me all this stuff. Okay. Right? Ready for this, guys? Then I go to their house and they have a 15-year-old Honda Accord. No shade to Honda Accord owners. I used to own one myself. Okay. But the point is, it's got bald tires. It's got no navigation. The seats are ripped up and they have Rolls Royce taste, but they're where they're previously coming from is a Honda Accord. You see the disparity? Okay. It happens all the time, folks. People will tell you what their wish list is, and you will go and start looking for your wish list, and then they're embarrassed to tell you they can't afford what's on the wish list. So what do? Oof, they evaporate on you. The best thing you can do, yes, exactly. Have them pre-approved, ask for proof of funds, go see their current location. You will notice more in a 15-minute site visit at their current location than they'll ever tell you on the phone. And frankly, there's things that they can't hide. Okay. You'll know that they have a 15-year-old car with ripped seats and bald tires, so to speak, proverbially speaking, right? If they're in a 1,500 square foot unit, they probably shouldn't be looking for 15,000. There's a few intermediate steps. Do we all agree upon that, guys? So what you need to do is you need to qualify them financially. Why do you need this? Like if they have a bunch of employees all kind of pushed into one little area and only one bathroom and this and that and the other thing, or if everyone has a nice office and there's plenty of room in the warehouse, this, that, and the other thing, and it's just like a would be nice to have, not a have to have. Does that make sense, folks? Type an 8 in the chat if you're now going to qualify your buyers and tenants, because folks, people will tell you, people love to play the role of like the big important person, and like sometimes they're they're just dreaming. Other times they're being optimistic and like, I mean, have you guys ever looked at a car or a house that's way beyond your price range? Okay, what happens, right? And then but by you going to their house or sorry, to their place of business, what you'll notice is you'll notice exactly what they need and why they need it, because you're going to see how their current operation is working. Do they have enough office? Do they have enough conference rooms? Do they have enough warehouse? Do they have enough parking? Do they have enough room for their products or whatever it is they might be storing if it's, let's say, a warehouse location? Does this make sense, guys? Is this landing on you guys? Okay, very, very important to understand. Next up, folks, know what your time is worth. Everybody, I want you to type into the chat what your hourly rate is. If you don't know what your hourly rate is, what I want you to do is take whatever your goal is over the next 12 months and divide that by 2,000. Why? Well, 2,000 is 50 weeks of the year. So you're going to take 2 weeks vacation, let's say, and 40 hours per week. I know you probably didn't work more than 40 hours a week, most of you, but let's just say for good back of the napkin kind of estimate. So if you want to make $200,000 next year, and 200,000 divided by 2,000, your time is worth $100 per hour. So what do we have? Lydia, Scott, Jay Parker, Tammy, Laura, Diego. What do we have, guys, in terms of what your time is worth? What is your hourly rate, folks? Let's see. We got 300 an hour. Love it. We got David Dean at 100 an hour. Good, 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 good. All right. Keep them coming, guys. Right? 75. Love it. Love it. Good, 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 good. Because here's the thing. Once you know your time is worth, folks, okay, you will never, ever, ever do anything that is not worth your time. Perfect example. When you guys think of Warren Buffett, type in the chat what you think of. Like what's the first thing that comes to mind? Type what like is it like investor, billionaire? There you go, Katya. Yeah. CEO, right? Okay, thought leader. Yeah. Living beneath his means. Okay. Does the word janitor ever come up to you guys? Right? Janitor? No? No? Whoa. You mean you don't think Warren Buffett mops the floors at Berkshire Hathaway? You think that might be below his pay grade? Oh, imagine that, right, guys? Okay, you with me? So the most important point I want you, yeah, you're absolutely right, Jay Parker. Warren is weird like that, like he absolutely would. But the point is, it's below his hourly rate. Okay, so you need to know, number one, what your hourly rate is, and number two, my biggest advice, if you want to grow your business, find someone that you can pay to do the thing that is below your hourly rate so you can do more of those things that are your hourly rate. Prospecting, presenting, following up. Does that make sense, folks? Type an exclamation point in the chat if that's a light bulb for you, okay? The more you do of the high value stuff, the more you can pay someone to do the low value stuff. Even if it's just 15 bucks a day, right? 15 bucks a day can get you 2 hours of your day back. How many of you guys would spend $15 a day, okay, which incidentally is what like a meal at Subway costs, okay? I went to Pollo Tropical the other day for like steak and rice or steak and chicken or whatever, and it was almost $20, right? My point is, for less than 20 bucks, you can buy back 2 hours of your day. How many of you would buy back 2 hours of your day? Because how many of you already feel, oh my gosh, there aren't enough hours in the day for me to get all the things I want to make the money I want to. Type a capital M, capital E if that's you. All right, guys? The point I want you to understand is you need to know what your time is worth so you know exactly how to delegate that most precious commodity, okay? Number 6, create call lists and to-do lists the night before. Well, that sounds weird. Why would we do that? Because it's very simple. In between your ears is a supercomputer. That supercomputer knows exactly what to do, okay? It is way smarter than we ever give it credit for, but we need to know how to use it to its fullest capacity. Most of us only use a fraction, myself included. So what I want you to invite you guys to do is knowing, so how many of you guys, okay, we talked about Honda Accords before, right? When I went to go buy a Honda Accord, I'll never forget. I went to the dealership and I looked at one, I really, really liked it. And then on the way home, I was like, like thinking about, oh, how cool would it be to have that car? And on the road, it seemed like every like quarter mile, I saw a Honda Accord and another Honda Accord and another one and another one and another one. Type 1 in the chat, guys, if you ever had that kind of experience where you start paying attention to something and next thing you know, you see it everywhere. It could be Honda Accords. It could be like a new style of clothing. It could be whatever. It could be Apple Watches, whatever. Like when you start looking for something, okay, guys, that's the part of your brain. It's called the reticular activation center of your brain. What that does is it looks to connect dots for you. Things that were not in your mind, things that are not in your consciousness, that was not in your everyday thoughts, right? Once you bring them to your consciousness, then your brain's like, oh, there's another one, there's another one, there's another one. So the point is, what I want you guys to do is create your call list the night before, create your to-do list the night before. Your brain, while you sleep, not only does it filter a lot of things out, but it'll start connecting dots for you without you even having to work at it, okay? You'll wake up in the morning with, oh, you know what? I should probably call Charlie Jones and mention this, or the last time I spoke to Scott Smith, he said this, so I'm going to say this time, right? You're going to wake up with these insights, all because you use your brain's reticular activation center. Make sense, guys? Okay, with me? So what you want to do, and number two, the second part about it is, it's very important to create your call list the night before, because then you're organized. So when you hit the office, you know exactly what you need to be doing instead of rolling in there and wondering, what am I going to do today? Okay. Good work habits are good work habits. Next up, guys, do not sign any NDAs, NCAs without reading the fine print. I promise you, folks, people will try to slide things in without you fully understanding them. So what I want you to please recognize is, folks, other brokerages, anything, any sort of confidentiality agreement or non-disclosure agreement, make sure you know what you're signing. Some places, some brokerages, they will remain nameless. They will literally, basically, for you to get information about a property, they want you to put your client's information, phone number, and email contact information. It's crazy, guys, before they'll even let you sign everything. So be careful of what you're signing away the rights to when you're signing these, okay? And what you're agreeing to. Number 4, don't try to buy the business. There are bazillion software companies out there that want to help you get that edge in business. Folks, you can be successful in this business with a very small bucket of resources, okay? Do not try to buy the business. Every software company is going to try to talk you into this, that, and the other thing. What I found with some of them is oftentimes the people trying to sell you the thing, they're failed real estate agents and brokers. Okay, that's who they hire because they already know about the industry. So don't listen to them when they say, oh, this software is going to be absolutely amazing, right? Stick with the basics. Have a business plan. You can't get around this business plan, folks. Wake up every day, pick up the phone, reach out to people who don't know who you are, don't know, like, or trust you yet, okay? And invite them to do business with you. If you follow that very simple guideline, folks, you will never, ever, ever be at a loss for more business. Okay, folks? If you wake up every single day. How many of you, type of 1 in the chat, or type of me in the chat, if you guys eat every day? Okay? Humor me. What do we have? Okay, Jay, Katya, okay, me. I love it. Okay, cool. Linda, Brian, good. Okay, you would never starve yourself for a day, would you? No. Now, how many of you guys, if you have pets, type what kind of pet you have, okay? I have the cutest little rescue mutt. Her name is Bourbon. But what kind of pet you have? Okay, you got Mr. Cat, no pets, 2 dogs, okay? If you have children, just, maybe have like 2 boys, 2 girls, whatever, okay? Yeah. You would never starve your children and never starve your pets, would you? No, not in a million years. That's cruelty, right? That's neglect, okay? So why on earth would you ever starve your business for even one day, okay? You feed your business new leads every single day, you will never have to worry about the performance of your business. Your business will grow every single day, just like a little baby that needs a bottle every 4 hours, okay? Your business needs new leads, new customers every single day. The number one reason why businesses die, not enough customers. Pick up the phone, go out and get more customers every day. Common sense, but so many people fail to do this. If you would just spend the first hour to 2 hours of your day prospecting for new business, you would never have to worry about it. Okay? Make sense, guys? Type a 100 in the chat if that makes a whole lot of sense. Okay? So don't try to buy the business, just go out and get it. Okay? There is no competition for people that pick up the phone and create new business daily. All right? This is a big one, folks. Learn to let the prospects speak and really listen. So there's kind of like a subset of this, okay? Learn to let the prospects speak, but know how to ask good questions. Folks, when you ask good questions, questions that are insightful, you know what that's going to allow you to do? It's going to allow you to get the answers that you need. If you develop rapport with somebody, okay, and you have a good structured script, have a good structured presentation, people will open up to you, okay? Have any of you ever told a stranger a secret? Or told them, maybe not a secret, but something personal that like 5 minutes before or 10 minutes before or 20 minutes before you might not have shared with them, but because you had a bond, right? Type of one in the chat if that's ever happened to you guys. You're just told some random person, you met them at I don't know, Met them at the dog park, met them at a bar, met them at, at wherever, right? At the bowling alley. Okay. Yeah, folks, that's human nature. We are meant to bond and create rapport with one another. Okay. And what happens is, folks, if you know, number one, how to create rapport in a listing presentation, and number two, the proper questions to ask, guess what, folks? People open up and they'll tell you everything that you need. All right. Remember, you can't say the wrong thing to the right person. But if you're not picking up the phone every single day and finding new people to do business with, you'll never get in front of the right people. Does that make sense, folks? Okay, cool. All right, next up. So make sure you really listen, because people will tell you everything you need to know. Okay, the next thing is, folks, in the beginning, do not try to chase huge deals. I know, folks, for those of you that are in your first year or two, okay, it's very, very tempting. We all know how to do math. And 3% of $10 million or 2% of $15 million. Oh my gosh, what would I do with a $500,000 check, $750,000 check? Everyone starts to having like these like lotto wishes, right? Like we're winning the lotto here, okay? Folks, it's like a dog chasing the school bus. Even if it caught the school bus, it wouldn't know how to drive it. Make sense, folks? And I'll tell you a secret here. Promise to keep it between us. Okay, I'm going to tell you a little secret. The fastest way to sell a $20 million building, sell $21 million buildings. All right, might seem obvious, folks, okay? But what I want you to understand is, if you sold 20 $1 million buildings, you're going to have all the transactional experience you need to sell a $20 million building. You're going to know what happens when DD goes sideways. You're going to know what happens when a bank comes back and the appraisal's light. You're going to know what happens if the environmental comes dirty. You're going to know what happens with this, that. Next thing you know, guys, the fastest way for you to close one of those big deals is close a bunch of small deals, okay? Because what happens with the big deals, and I've had students that come to me, they're like, oh, I'm chasing this hotel deal for $30 million. I'm chasing this other deal for $40 million. I'm chasing this other one. And I'm like, oh, how much did you make last year? I made $30,000. Well, guess what, folks, right? We don't get good at, let's say, basketball by taking half-court shots and throwing them, because they're super low percentage. The better basketball players practice their layups, right? Practice their jump shot, practice their foul shot. You with me, guys? It's the easier. You got to take the smaller shots, get real good at that, and then you'll have a business, okay? So closing smaller deals, there's no shame in closing small deals. You know why? You're going to learn something on every single deal. My very first year, I didn't make a lot of money. I learned a lot. And one of the things I learned was I just want to do a handful of deals so I get the flow. And then closing a $1 million deal is no different than closing a $5 million deal. In fact, the people that you close a $5 million deal with are typically more sophisticated, know what's going on, and a little bit easier to deal with. You're not doing as much educating. So it's actually easier. So close a bunch of smaller deals and you'll get the chops to close a bigger deal. All right, guys? And finally, this is the numero uno thing. And for me, it was the hardest thing for me, okay? I looked and looked and looked and looked and looked and never could find a mentor. Someone that actually cares whether I succeeded or not, all right? If you're working at a bigger firm, oftentimes what you'll find is you might have some senior person on your team, you might have a managing director, you might have this, you might have that, and they will help you so long as is not taking away from their business, right? And I understand this is 100% commission business, and everyone is taking, doing what they need to do in their time to maximize. It's very, very, very difficult. I have well over 1,000 conversations with real estate agents in the exact same place as you every year, guys, okay? And what it comes down to is everyone says it's so hard to find someone to help me. Either people want to take half of my deal, or they're too busy doing their own deals. Those are the things we get all the time, or the training at their company is not sufficient, okay? What I recommend is, as quickly as you can, find a mentor. Find someone that wants to help you get across the finish line. Find someone that's going to share their knowledge with you and not hold back because they're afraid of creating competition in their market, okay? I worked at a place, folks, full disclosure, and the day I quit, they said, why did you quit? I said, because I felt like you weren't teaching me everything. They said, you're right. We felt like you would be future competition. right? That's what you get, okay? And the point I want you guys all to understand is find someone that's going to help you, okay? As soon as I found a mentor, I did a lot of different trainings and Frankenstein an entire plan together. But as soon as I found a mentor, things picked up for me, okay? If you want to make more money this year than you did last year, you got to do something different this year. All right, folks, have a great week. Keep in mind, folks, the top 10 things we just talked about. The most important thing is, folks, that you have a system in place. And then it's just a question of how often you want to turn the handle and get that system up and rolling. Okay, folks? Thanks so much for being here, folks.